What do you guys got? Or what do you got? You guys like to know stuff. You guys love the injury stuff. So Kyle Pitts will be back this week for us, which is great to get him back. We're excited about that. Of the guys that have been out, I think he's the James Houston. We also expect to have back this week. Anybody I'm missing? That you're curious about? And nobody really knew on the injury front from the game.
How extensive is Trent?
He'll be a couple more weeks, I think. Another, it is. It's very much, it's a rib injury, and he had the ribs with the lungs. So it's it's just when we get the X-rays when the ribs heal. So it should be another week or possibly two for Trent Whitmore.
Pat, last week, man, lead us off.
Whoa, I missed that. What was that?
Pat Dooley, go ahead.
Okay.
It's last week.
Oh, yeah, it's Pat's last week.
Yeah, this is it's a historic question here. So, Dan, obviously, it shouldn't be hard to get your team's attention, considering what happened last year and what happened the year before with Kentucky. Is that kind of the way you're looking at it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, they're a really good football team. I think they had a tough game last week, but that was out of the kind of the norm with how that game played out for them. And even if you look at it, into the second quarter, they were driving in for a field goal to make it 7-6 in the middle of the second quarter, and then they snapped the ball. Then some kind of like some weird things started happening for them, and the game got away from them. But you look at them, very good defensive team, stout up front, one of the best pass defenses in the conference, and and then they complement it playing ball control football and their physicality and how they're able to run the ball. So for us, and always, this is you're always going to get their best when they come play the Gators. So we gotta continue to take strides moving forward. Have a great week of practice and come out and perform at a high level again on Saturday.
And was that a little disappointing that you talked about last week? You didn't take a step forward even though you won the game.
Yeah, there's things that you can look at that we did pretty well. I think as a whole, I don't think we had our best week of practice, and I don't think we played our best game of the year. However, we when you have a 21-point victory, it's hard to sit there and say this is, everything's gone wrong when you had a 21-point win on the road at an 11 a.m. kick. I go back in 2006 team. I think we had to recover an onside kick in our 2006 game up there in Vanderbilt. We had to recover an onside kick at the end of the game to win it. We had a pretty good football team that year, and so. When you look at those things for our guys, you look at some of the positives of, we really started slow, but then, we came out, we did all the things you needed to do to win a football game. We get a big score before half. We open the second half of the drive to create a big point swing. We get defensive stops when we need to. We put a 99-yard drive together to clinch the game in the fourth quarter. All the things you need to do as a team to win, we were able to do. Now, as a whole, was that our overall best performance? No, but, you can still look at all the positive things that we did as a team that you need to do throughout the course of a long season.
Thank you.
Hey, Robbie, same thing. You got anything for Coach?
Yeah, I do, Skip. Hey, Dan, even without Pitts, you guys were pretty good offensively the last two games, but what does it mean getting him back in terms of production, some of the things you can do with him?
Well, he's another weapon that we're adding into the game and the rotation. He's got to go battle for some playing time right now. Those other guys are playing pretty good. So, but he brings, I think he's such a playmaker, he's such a leader, and brings such great personality as well to the team. I think just having him back out there on the field is going to be great for everybody. And then for us, and then I think the matchup problem that he causes defense, it's great to have him back with us.
Mark Long.
Dan, following up on that, you see guys all over the country opting out.
Mm-hmm.
From teams, championship caliber teams, but was there any concern to Kyle? He's a top 10 pick here. He's pretty significant injury, asked to have surgery. Was there any concern on his part or your part that he might consider to opt out at this point?
I wasn't. I mean, that'd be a question probably for him to see where he was. I mean, he was always, he was trying to play this past game, and he wanted to go play this past weekend. So I don't think that was ever something that popped up. I think if you just look at his competitive spirit, who he is, I mean, he's played with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder most of the year, and I think he wants to continue to do that. And so I mean, you can ask him and the family, but I mean, everything, we're in close contact with the family, and it was one, he thought should have been cleared to play this past weekend, and obviously wasn't. And I mean, even if it was on the edge, we would have been extremely conservative with putting him back out there on the field.
And then just secondly, this would be rivalry week. This would be Florida State. Do you miss that? Do you think the league misses that as a whole?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Yes, it's such a weird deal right now. Like, it certainly doesn't feel like Thanksgiving week because we're like in the middle of the season. So I think that it just makes it all have such a very different feel for it all this week. But I mean, hey, that's always such a big game. Florida State's such a big game, and usually, when you see those games on this weekend and families getting together and celebrating the holidays, and this year, you're not really supposed to get with your family, and you're missing out on your big football games to watch, and so it's just such a different year. But I'm sure it'll be. It's going to be a big game here, so hopefully everybody, eats a lot on Thanksgiving Day, and then wants to come burn some calories off here in the swamp cheering on the Gators on Saturday.
Sure. Dan, how do you guys handle Thanksgiving with the team this year, and what's the message to them? Because just to be safe.
Well, we've tweaked it. I've always been somebody that really tries to give everybody the opportunity to get home and do more with their family. But so we're bumping back our Thursday practice just a little bit, and we'll have a team Thanksgiving dinner here. But I mean, we have a home game this weekend. I mean, their parents are going to be coming in to be with their sons. So I'm sure they're going to have some Thanksgiving plans and some of that stuff as well. And we just kind of remind our guys got to continue to be safe and continue to be smart in how they're doing things.
The schedule. There's speculation constantly about what's going to happen. For example, with the LSU game, because Alabama needs to play LSU as well. There was a message the SEC's not revealing times for December 5th right now. Are you ready for we've asked you this before, but it's like, I had someone telling me you guys might even be playing Kentucky this week. I mean, where are you at with this, and how adjustable and malleable are you with this?
I'll be perfectly honest. I think you've seen from one thing, we've become very adjustable during the course of this year. You even look at how we handled Saturday. Of making things that are kind of very out there adjustments that you normally wouldn't see in a year, with getting dressed at the hotel, the locker room, that type of stuff, and even post game, how we handled it, of trying to space guys out, because, a lot of times you go on the road. I'm sure when people come here, I've been in our visiting locker room here on one occasion as a coach, and it's not real big. So, to limit that stuff. So we've been very adjusted. As I know, all I know right now, all I know is we are supposed to play Kentucky on Saturday. And so if not, I got to get back to work and get my game plan changed a little bit. But, we were working on them all day yesterday, all day today. And I think that's just kind of how it's going and how the year's playing out. And I think the conference and all the coaches understand that they're trying to do the best that they can under the circumstances that we have, and they just asking us to make sure that we're flexible to be able to do that as well. And everybody's got to understand, hey, I can't speak for other people. We've had to do it. We had to. We were part of the ones we had to be involved in changing our schedule around because of the, for safety reasons. And so that's 2020. I thought you were going to ask, am I ready for 2020 to be over with? Which I am enjoying the football season, but the rest of 2020 is
Well,
interesting.
the Kentucky, don't take my word for it. I'm just saying somebody was speculating that.
Well, I think the league has told us that there could be those options.
Okay.
Like not specific this way, a couple weeks ago, that hey, we could, if you could get a call and a curveball and say, hey, we're going to switch who you're playing this week.
Are you willing just to not play a game, like, for example, December 12th? Would you be willing, if you guys are healthy and LSU's healthy, to let Alabama play? I mean, you don't want to give up a game, I would assume. You have things to work on. And
Yeah, we're ready to go play. We've been ready to go play. We'll just keep playing. Our guys want to play. They want to go compete. They want to go do those things. So, to me, I don't know. I mean, like I've said, it just it is what it is. So I mean, I know what our schedule is currently. And so, I mean, the best you can do is we're going to prepare for Kentucky this week. If we play on Saturday, and then, Sunday morning, I'll get in early on Sunday morning, and it's Tennessee's next, I think, right? And then you're going to roll on to get ready for that one until somebody tells you something different.
thanks, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Baker.
Hey, Dan, obviously the offense has been playing at an extremely high level all season. What makes this offense in particular special compared to some of the other really good ones you've been around in your career?
I think there's some maturity on this team that allows us, and the guys understand what we're doing, allows us to make a bunch of in-game adjustments. I mean, you look at, they came out and kind of played us differently than they'd been playing all year on Saturday. So, the maturity of the team kind of allows you to get into the game, go make those adjustments, and how they're playing us. Maybe not differently, but I mean, they're not kind of what you expect, and they play something that they really haven't shown a lot of. Now, you have a plan for it. Then you get everybody on the sidelines, you get everybody together, say, hey, here's some adjustments we have to make in the maturity of the team to be able to not just to be able to handle those adjustments, to be able to go execute those adjustments on the field.
Thank you.
David.
Coach, 7 games into the season, and we're still seeing communication issues before the snap on defense. What's causing those this late in the season, and is it something opponents are doing to take advantage?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's just a lot of up-tempo teams. You know what I mean? I mean, they're trying to snap the ball as fast as they can, so the ball gets placed. We're getting the defensive play in from the sideline, and we get that call. Then you just, you're trying to you get the call in, you make the call, you see the formation, and we're trying to get lined up fast. But, I mean, if teams can run when they run the ball, spot the ball fast, and try to snap it as fast as humanly possible, you got to just adjust to get lined up as fast as you can as well.
Is there a common theme of kind of why it's just been there all season?
Yeah, teams snapping the ball as fast as they possibly can. And now you don't see it when they throw a pass out of bounds. So here's how it works. Okay, and if you're a football guy, so you run the ball, like if they run an inside running play, they run a play inside. The umpire is going to get the ball and spot the ball, and they're going to get it ready to play faster than if the ball gets thrown to the outside or out of bounds or an incomplete pass further down the field. So there's different times of how fast the officials put the ready for play with the ball in there. And so you can go really fast if you wanted to. I mean, I guess we could go super fast, and you would see teams have a tough time getting lined up on certain plays and following certain plays. But I mean, as teams do that, I mean, that's an offensive strategy. There's pluses and minuses to it. You'll see a lot of explosive plays where all of a sudden we do get lined up and they're running a play and they're not really ready. They had one, they snapped the ball, their receiver was 5 yards downfield still, and it really hurt them, kind of ended their drive. So there's pluses and minuses to it and what you want to do.
And Kentucky plays a physical brand of football. They beat up Georgia a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen Terrell Miller dealing with some injuries. Can we see Hopper and Pierre? They played well versus Vandy. Are those players we can see more of this week?
Yeah, you see them, sure. Absolutely. Good. We'll see how it goes. See how the week of practice goes. See anybody. I don't know. It's Monday. I don't know who we're going to see. I get the call usually on Thursday night about midnight who's available. So.
Were you impressed with those guys?
Yeah, I thought they were. They've prepared. They're prepared for their moment. There are a lot of things they can do better. I mean, a lot. I don't think either of them graded out as a champion, but I think they're gaining experience and and the mistakes that are made that they can go learn from.
Thank you.
Goldie.
Yeah, Dan, you had said a couple weeks back that you kind of wanted to go back to the drawing board defensively, just make sure you were getting guys, in the right spots to make plays based on their ability. How do you feel like that's gone so far, and is there anything you still want to tweak?
No, I think it's gone pretty well. You look there on Saturday. Defensively, we gave a couple explosive plays. A couple of them were really good offense. Not bad defense, just really good offense. There were a couple plays I didn't think we executed very well. But their final 8 drives of the game, they had 7 points. So I thought overall we played pretty good defensively. And like I said, some of the big plays. You get upset at the big plays, then we play bad defense. I don't get upset at big plays when the other team plays great offense. We see great offense. You know what I mean? You can sit there and say, I always go back to our first game of the season, it is the game of football. We played. Kyle Pitts made a catch, and Lane Kiffin said, "Oh, I don't know." We called the defense to have 2 guys cover him, and he jumped over both guys and caught the ball. We certainly not going to sit there and say we played bad defense on that play. That was just really good offense. And I think on Saturday, a couple of their explosives were really good offense. And their guys made plays, and that's going to happen. You just got to get up and go play the next play. So, but overall, what you want to eliminate are the bad defensive plays. And there were a couple that we gave up, I thought, explosive plays that wasn't great defense. And that's the stuff you have to eliminate. But for the majority of the game, I thought we were pretty solid.
Zach.
Hey, Dan, just to follow up on Edgar, if you guys win the East and Alabama wins the West before either of you guys even get to LSU, would it make sense that game gets considered to be canceled?
It's like above my pay grade right there, I mean, I'm good with whatever, if I don't know. I'm just hoping we play Kentucky on Saturday. That's about as far as I can take it right now. And we get ready to go play that game. We'll see what happens next.
For sure. And then obviously Kyle Pitts coming back is great, but for Kyle Trask, what do you think the past 2 weeks without having Kyle in there has done for him, just as a passer, and maybe showing people what he can do without arguably the best player in college football?
Well, I just think it shows that what I've said along, that he does such a great job of taking advantage of what the defense is going to give. It's not like, hey, I'm just going to throw the ball to a Kyle Pitts. I'm going to look at the matchups I have and go take advantage of those matchups out there on the field. And I think, as the season goes on, I tell guys a lot, don't, especially younger players and everybody, like all the receivers, the running back, there's nobody ever has enough catches or enough touches or enough carries or anything. Everybody wants the ball more. But I tell guys, don't get frustrated. We're going to everybody's going to play us a little bit differently. And, hey, 1 week, you're a guy that is, they might try to take that out of the game plan. Okay, well, if they're going to take you out of the game plan, somebody else is going to step up. And so I think you've seen that as you see all the number of guys that have multiple touchdown catches, the number of guys that have 10-plus catches on the season, the number of different position groups, like our receivers our tight ends have 38 catches on the year and 13 touchdowns. Our receivers have 108 catches and 19 touchdowns on the year. And it's spread out a bunch of different guys. But Kyle's just going to kind of take, and we're going to coach to take what they give us. And if they're going to try to bracket or double team you or roll to you or eliminate you from a game plan, another guy might have a big day. But eventually they're going to go bracket the other guy or double team the other guy. Now you're going to have a big day. You look at even our running backs. If I take our running backs and put their numbers together, we average well over 100 yards a game. But we rolled those guys through. Now what you could say, those guys got to buy in, and all of them want to play more, and all of them want to get more carries and more touches. But in the course when you're playing a 10-game SEC schedule, we also have 3 fresh running backs, right now. And so I think the guys kind of understand that and buy into that part of the offense.
And just to add to that, by setting 2 SEC records the past 2 weeks, did he dispel the notion that he's only put up numbers because of Pitts?
Yeah, I would guess. What did he set the last 2 weeks? Like, oh, the touchdown pass thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard somebody say something. Boy, it's like, he had his worst performance of the year. When your worst performance of the year is like 370 yards passing and 3 touchdowns with no interception, that's a pretty, things are going pretty well. I didn't put it down as his worst performance of the year, but thought he played pretty well.
Thanks, Dan.
Buddy.
Hey, Dan, along the lines of Trask and numbers and what have you, Heisman's and whatever, I know it's always team first, but how much does that cross your mind when I know you're not thinking about it, but obviously when you change quarterbacks and Emory got that touchdown pass, people say, it could have been Kyle's. How conscious are you of those kinds of things? And does that factor in your decisions in terms of he's got a personal goal and you've got a team goal and sometimes they conflict? How do you manage that thought?
You know what? No, that doesn't cross my mind because, I've done this long enough to have a great understanding. Individual awards are going to come with team success. It just kind of seems that's how it works in college football these days. If we keep winning, I don't know. I think they're probably, if you look for like national awards lists, there's probably some guys this week that are on your Heisman list or whatever. Maybe didn't put up big numbers, but their team still won, right? And they're still rolling along. So, and I think that kind of goes for a lot of the awards. You usually, you're seeing players that are winning awards are on really good football teams as well. And so, it's pretty easy. You just keep the focus on the team winning. If we keep winning and we're successful, Kyle's going to keep putting up pretty good numbers, and he'll have the opportunity to get some individual awards. He won't be the only one. Hopefully there's other guys on our team that certainly have the opportunity to get individual awards as well. But you increase your chances of that as long as the team continues to win.
You mentioned the tight ends, and Coach Brewster tweeted out that there was the best in the nation, 13 touchdowns, 7 games, et cetera, et cetera. Why is that? Why is that working so well? You have talented tight ends, but why is it working? Because rarely have I seen a team with 3 tight ends who could catch the ball as well as these 3.
Well, they're a big part of our offense. We use them to create mismatches. I think Kyle Pitts got so much attention, but we know those other guys are there. And, you can't sit there and say, hey, if he went out, we have to scrap our entire offense because, we don't have another tight end that can do that stuff. And we have a lot of faith and confidence in those guys. Those guys, they get as many reps at practice as Kyle does. And, so they've just prepared to be ready for their moment. They're pretty talented guys. We run the offense. And, if they're going to, I think, possibly, they've probably benefited from the fact that as people are looking and saying, hey, Kyle Pitts is not in, we're going to focus on the other guys and not focus on the tight ends as much, and they get advantageous matchups, and they've taken advantage of it.
Good recruiting help, too.
That doesn't hurt.
You're debunking all kinds of myths. I mean, can he score points? Yes. What can he recruit? Yes. Et cetera, et cetera. Now, how about the one on you becoming an expert on Christmas lights?
Yeah, well, I did notice Cassidy does have the room dim today, so we can't see how the lighting is going.
It's 1:30 in the afternoon.
Bah humbug to you right now, then. Holy cow.
It'll be on tonight. It'll be on tonight.
No, I don't know. I mean, you grew up like in my house. A lot of times, my mom texted me the other day, like we never wouldn't put up the tree till Christmas Eve, but she's British, and so a lot of the Christmas is like the 12 days of Christmas. So you're kind of celebrating all the way, until what is it?
January 6th.
January 6th, and that's bigger. And we're here in the U.S. kind of everything is before Christmas, and then on Boxing Day, well, we don't really have Boxing Day, but on Boxing Day, everything shuts and changes. There's no more Christmas, and which is kind of disappointing. I love Christmas. I think it's a great time of year, so enjoy it as much as you possibly can.
Thank you.
Cassidy, did you have one while you're on?
Yes, actually I do. Kentucky is second in the league in interceptions. Kyle is second in least interceptions. I feel like something would probably have to give there. And do you ever get a little worried with some of the tight window throws he makes? Is that just guts on his part or practice to know he can get it in there?
Yeah. One, I think we have a lot of confidence in him. You know, the majority of them I'm not that worried about, you know, because I know what he's doing. It might look high risk, but he knows what he's doing. It's not like I'm taking a chance. You know, that's where the ball's got to go, and it's a tight window. I got to have great timing, and I got to put it in that window, especially if they're going to drop all kinds of people into coverage, like we've been seeing. You know, and you know the benefit of them dropping a lot of people in coverage is he has a lot. He really doesn't get much rush on him. So, you know, I mean, he can kind of sit back there, take his time, find the window, and deliver the ball. And, you know, there's a couple every once in a while. I'm like, wow, that was a heck of a throw. You know, I don't want to make livings doing that all the time, making that throw. But, you know, I don't see him make poor decisions, you know, that way, you know, and so that is the most important one to me. It's like, boy, the read told you to not throw to this guy and you still tried to force it into a tight window. You know, he goes where the read takes him and he makes the throw and tries to do it on time. And then their coverage dictates how that window is going to open.
Then a year, I know it's a little bit more than a year because the schedule got moved, but when he went in that fourth quarter in Kentucky last year, could you have even imagined this is where he would be a year later?
I was just trying to get through the fourth quarter of that game, to be honest with you, find a way to win, and then figure out what we were going to do from that point forward and make sure we were really shifting to completely build around his strengths. You know, and you had to tweak the offense, and you always got to tweak around player strengths. So I knew I had confidence in him, and so in what he was going to bring to the table and what he was going to be able to do. I think everybody realized we had confidence in him. He just hadn't had the opportunity to go on the field and show it in a game situation. And, you know, I mean, he's just shown that if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to make sacrifices and you're committed long-term, you don't quit, you don't give up, you don't, stop on your dream, you can see what you can accomplish in life. And, I mean, he's a great example of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Christian, Zach, and then close with Hector. One each, guys, get quick.
Coach, can you talk about how you temper egos on offense, given the talent that you have and the ability to spread the ball around to whatever weapon is available?
Oh, players or coaches? Players, okay. No. I think the guys, it's a big thing of getting guys to buy in and believe in what we're doing. And I think you can go watch on Sunday and see the number of offensive players, like, having success at the next level. And what I'm saying, not just the individual or one star player doing it, the number of guys with the receivers and the running back from last year. Those guys get to see how that plays out for them and how it lets them grow and how those guys all bought in and look what it did for them, and it makes it a little bit easier. And then as this season goes on, I think as you see, like early on, it's a little bit trickier sometimes. Early on, hey, this guy had all the catches. I didn't have any catches. But as the year goes on and now you start seeing the balance of numbers of guys with touchdown catches and catches during the course of a game, I think it makes it a little bit easier that they're like, okay, you know what? I got it. I understand. I saw it. I understood it, but I want the ball. And as the year goes on, they realize, hey, I'm going to get the ball. I just got to be patient and keep working.
Zach.
Hey, Dan, you had mentioned after the game you were a little disappointed that you weren't able, or the defense didn't really roll guys through as much as you wanted. After tape study, were you able to address that? And as long as the availability is there, do you foresee that improving?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the things to me, and you look at what I've always been a big believer. And I like to play a lot of players, and there's the reasons you do it. One, it keeps everybody fresh during all four quarters of a game, so that people aren't exhausted come the fourth quarter, early in the game, right? I mean, we roll guys through. So if I'm a starter and I've only played, 27 plays and it's the fourth quarter, I'm still fresh, ready to go make plays. Okay. The second one, it gets everybody into the game. right? Is all of a sudden I don't want a guy that have to sit there and say, hey, this guy now got hurt. I need you to go make the game-winning play. And I've been standing on the sidelines for 3 hours and never even touched the field. So it gets guys and it keeps guys into the flow of the game. Then it also creates depth and experience. So, young guys, I might only be getting 8 to 10 plays. But I know I'm going to get those 8 to 10 plays, and I got to prepare and I got to be ready for that. And if I do really well, I might get 12 plays next week. And that it helps develop depth amongst the team and experience. When you look at the receiver position, is a big example of it, right? When we have 4 guys leave to go to the NFL last year. Well, Jacob Copeland and Trey Grimes had all played. They played a bunch, and Kadarius Toney had all played a bunch of football, even though they weren't maybe the returning starters. I think Trey was, but the other guys. But they've played a bunch of football because we roll them in, and they have experience. Isn't their first time on the field? I think that just helps build depth throughout the entire team and the entire program, and it helps keep you fresh for an entire season.
Close with that here.
Dan, I was actually going to get you talking about last year's Kentucky game with Kyle, but Cassie did. But just given your playing days, your coaching career, I mean, we're going back almost 30 years now. Have you ever seen someone just come out of nowhere like this and perform at this kind of a level? I mean, do you have an example of an injury paving the way for someone just to have this kind of an ascension?
Like Lou Gehrig, or are you going that way?
No, I'm saying that you
like Wally Pipped.
Existence.
Yeah, I don't know. But I've seen it. I'd be honest with you. At the University of Utah, a kid named Brett Elliott was our starting quarterback. He got hurt on the final play of the game against Texas A&M. And 4 days later, Alex Smith had to start for us at Utah. He was ready for his moment, and he went 21-1 as a starter and won again yesterday. That was a long time. I mean, that was a long time ago. So I think it's happened, but I don't think it's something you see very often. I think Kyle's story is very, very unique with the, because I think you trace back to a guy that even his high school story, to get to where he is unique. You know what I mean? If I go to the Alex Smith story, we knew Alex eventually was going to be the future in everything that we were doing. At some point, he was going to be ready to, and it just got accelerated because of an injury. But I think for a guy like Kyle, I think it is just such a unique story of continuing to stick with your goal and continuing to believe in yourself to get to where you are. And, I think that's what makes his such a special story because, there's a lot of things that you could come up with reasons why he is not here. And in today's world, it's hard to find, like a lot of people that would put themselves in the position he's in, and yet it shows you the success you can have if you're willing to stick with your goals and your dreams.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Have a good week.